of a fish landing site at Mumford. Our Central Regional Correspondent Kingsley Nanaboedu is with the President, and he will shortly be updating us on issues surrounding that matter very shortly. The Minister for Aviation, Mr. Joseph Kofiada, has assured staff of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority and Ghanaians in general that government has no intention of selling the Ghana Airport Company. He said government is aware of the strategic importance of the Ghana Airport Company and its ancillaries and the job opportunities they offer to Ghanaians. He urged the staff of the company to disregard rumors about a purported sale. The minister was speaking at the Tamale Airport, where he inspected work on phase 2 of the facility.
In August 2019, President Akufo-Addo cut the sword for commencement of work on the phase 2 of the Tamale Airport project. The project involves the construction of a 5-kilometer road to connect the airport to the main Bolgatanga Highway, a multi-purpose terminal, a Hajj village, a parking lot, and offices. The aviation minister's visit was therefore to assess the progress of work and to interact with staff of the Ghana Airport Company in Tamale. Mr. Adda expressed satisfaction with the quality and speed of work and urged the engineers to ensure that the project was completed on schedule. He outlined the socio-economic importance of the project to the northern region in particular and the country at large.
We have an international airport in Kumasi, but Tamale is where it's perhaps the biggest in the sense of land space that's available. The runway is, I think, 430 or so meters, slightly longer than Accra, and it's available to take all kinds of facilities. It's really very good for us. We're very happy about the work that's going on. We wish we could complete it tomorrow, but it's not possible.
Interacting with staff of the Ghana Airport Company, he said government is looking to employ more Ghanaians when the second phase of the project is completed. The Northern Regional Minister, Mr. Salifu Said, commended the chiefs and people of the region for choosing peace.
We all know that in our part of the country we have seen intermittent violent conflict, which scared some investors away, and now that there is peace in northern region, peace in Dagbon, whose soil, whose land that this airport facility is constructed, they see it that is a benefit of the peace we are enjoying.
He emphasized that the airport project and any other development project can only happen when there is peace.
Region, where our correspondent Kingsley Nanaboedu is standing by to update us on issues surrounding the president's tour of that region. Kingsley, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Now, the president has inaugurated the Ekomfi fruit juice and Kasaropa factories. What else has he been up to today during his tour?
Well, indeed, today is the second day of the President's Excellency Bernardo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's second day of his working visit to the Central region. In fact, the day began at Cape Coast, where he availed himself to be interrogated on ATL FM, also in Cape Coast. And of course, there were many issues that came up, which of course he responded to. The prominent of those issues has to do with the corruption issue, has to do with cycle, and so on. With regards to cycle, for instance, Bernardo was emphatic that yes, it's an issue that's quite worrying, not to him alone, but of course many of the fishing people within the sector. But what he said is that before he came to office, there were not many measures that have been laid down to curb that. But when he came, he was able to procure a vessel and other stuff and put some measures in place for the army, and all the marine police and all of them have been put in place to ensure that they deal with this situation. According to him, this is an area where the perpetrators can only be found at the high seas. So it is difficult to, of course, get somebody and begin prosecute. You need to have evidence, and that has been the thing. But he's still working to help stop that situation. When it comes to corruption, he was emphatic that yes, corruption again is a worrying situation, but he is of the view that his administration has been able to lay down certain systems he's talked about the Auditor General and the fact that he's been able to, of course, equip them well enough. And this is testimony when the Auditor General himself was talking about it. He's talking about the one that he put out at Martin Amedu's institution and many other institutions that, of course, he has helped strengthen just to deal with the situation. So if anybody is to judge him by issue of corruption, he feels that he should be credited with many systems that has been put in place to deal with the situation. Well, away from there, we came to a conflict. US will, of course, will bear with me. They will appreciate that on the 25th of August on 2017 was when the sword was cast or the ground was broken for the commencement of the Ekunfi fruit and juices factory here at Ekunfi. And of course today is almost, we are still in August when he has again cut the sword for its commencement. I must indicate that the fruit is already in the market, but this is official inauguration or commission of the factory. Many things have happened here. In fact, should I paint a picture of what happened at the Durban? It's quite a very beautiful and splendid one. I can say that about 10 paramounts, and I'm referring to paramount chiefs across the central region who, of course, joined their counterparts, Nana Achin the 8th, to, of course, welcome Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. What this means is that this particular factory is quite significant, not only for the chiefs and people of Ekunfi, but the entire central region. That is why they have all learned their support. A quick one. Nana Achin, or definitely Nana Achin, the 8th, when speaking, he of course extolled all the virtues of Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the measures and interventions that is put in place. And of course, said that Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo's achievement should not only be measured by some of these things, the one factory and the free cities alone, but of course Ghanaians should be able to measure Nana Dankwa's competence with his resilience and of course bold measures, and especially the fact that he took over at the time the country was in a certain standard. COVID has also come in. So we should not only measure him based on the good things he's doing, but again, his resilience and his robustness to surmount some of the challenges that he's already been faced with. So as I speak with you, they have all spoken. It's been beautiful speeches here and there. But one thing that I can't, of course, leave you without letting you know is the fact that aside the politics, this is a national facility. And I can say that one person that we saw, which of course generated a whole lot of, you hear people talking about who is that? It happens to be the former chairperson of the NDC in the central region, Allotte Jacobs, who also came here to support his people. Of course, this is for the central region, so he felt that it's also part of central region. So if such a thing is happening, he needs to be there. And it was been quite very beautiful and powerful. Nana Dankwa came here in the company of Honorable Alan Martin, then the Honorable Gifty or Hini Kunedu. You can talk about the road and highways minister, and a whole lot of them. So I will say that Accra, or the Jubilee House, is now in Cape Coast. We are now going to Mountford, where Nana is expected to inspect a landing beach. A landing beach that is almost complete there. He's just going to inspect that before we go to Casa de Roca at Bomwa, to also inaugurate the factory. That factory, I must again say, is also having product in the market already. You can talk about bread and pastries and so on and so forth, which come out from sweet potato, and it's quite a beautiful one. When another doctor was speaking at Ekunfi, he indicated that he is going to make sure that the people of Ekunfi get a landing beach, and this is something he promised, especially to honor His Excellency John Evans Atamils, who happens to be his bosom friend when they were at the university. So it's a thing he promised them that he would do in honor of his friend, His Excellency Atamils, and he's going to ensure that the people get that because they again asked. So it's been a beautiful day too, and we are moving on.
Kingsley, before we let you go, what about adherence to the COVID-19 protocols? Because we've seen that in the excitement, people tend to forget themselves and then do the things that we are being told are not helpful in our fight?
I must say, since yesterday, today, wherever we've been to, there have been efforts to ensure that the protocols are adhered to. You have nose masks almost everywhere. You have hand sanitizer almost everywhere. But in terms of the social distancing, that one, I can't say that it was being adhered to so much. You see people, and the nature of the event, it would even be very difficult for the people to even adhere to that. And it's been like that. What perhaps we can rely on is the fact that the nose mask, people are wearing some themselves, but they are sharing some too around there. If they realize you don't have some, then somebody will give you. And they were using hand sanitizers. Also, that's what I saw there. They were only come back to place at certain places for people to do that. But in terms of the social distancing, because of the excitement the whole event brings, it is not really being adhered to so well there.
Right. Thank you so much, Kingsley. Do keep safe as you follow the president on his activities, and we'll get back to you for further details. Kingsley Nanaboedu is our Central Regional Correspondent, just now finished updating us on the president's activities in that region, and he is expected to inaugurate even other projects while he is there. In other stories, the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, says political party manifestos are social contracts in which parties to the contract, the voter and the party must engage each other to ensure the promises are upheld. At a regional dialogue with political parties, CSOs and the media in Bolgatanga in the Upper East, the Executive Director CDD Ghana, Professor Henry Prempe, disseminated portions of its publication on complications of issues and evidence on key sectors in Ghana under the Manifesto for Inclusive Development project.
The idea behind the Manifesto project, promoting responsive and responsible manifesto for inclusive development, is to shape manifestos at the drafting stages to deepen democracy. It also seeks to improve the use of manifestos to address critical national and long-term development issues. This project is a compilation of issues and evidence in 10 key sectors spanning governance and public administration, health, social services, economy, and infrastructure. It also seeks to build trust, responsiveness, and accountability as the manifesto is being compiled to improve popular participation in its development. Our view among scholars of Ghanaian electoral politics was that manifestos of yesteryear had little effect on voter behavior or on election outcomes. Once in power, political parties and their leaders did not genuinely govern or feel obligated to govern in line with the promises or commitments they made in their manifestos or during their campaigns, and voters did not hold government to their electioneering promises. The Executive Director, CDD Ghana, Professor Henry Prempe, said the center put together evidence-based research to inform and influence public policy for the greater good of the country.
If manifestos are going to become important, then the people outside the parties must also have an input. Because if it's going to become like a social contract, even though it's not a legal contract, if it's going to become a social contract, you cannot just write a one-side contract and say that the other side must obey it. So we wanted people outside the party to have a say, to have an opportunity to input into the process. So this is how we devised this project, as a way of making some entry, giving us an opportunity to dialogue with the parties before they come with their manifestos, so that as CDD we will put at their service the benefit of our research and the evidence that we've gathered from all kinds of sources.
The Executive Director of the Northern Patriots in Research and Advocacy, NOPRA, Mr. Bismarck Adongo Ayurogo, spoke about the CSO's expectations in the manifesto of the various political parties.
What we see political parties in this year's election, their policy proposals that will address issues of agri, issues of water, sanitation, and hygiene, usually called WASH because of COVID-19. Want to see how they address industrialization. We want to also see how they address issues that affect quality education.
CDD Ghana works with all identifiable interest groups to advance the conversation on the need for data-driven manifestos and policies.
Back in the national capital, the First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, says Ghanaians must take advantage of government social intervention policies such as the free SHS policy, among others, to break the vicious cycle of semi-literacy and poverty in their communities. Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo paid a courtesy call and presented items to the people and traditional councils of the Teshi, Nungwa and Osu areas in the Greater Accra region to support this year's Homo.
The First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, also of Ghana descent, is touring most parts of the Greater Accra region to support the Homo, which is celebrated by the Ghans annually, a reminder of their long battle against famine and how the rains finally came to ease their plight with a bumper harvest. Accompanied by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Michelle Ayokobotwe, the Deputy Minister for Health, Dr. Bernardo Koboy, and other dignitaries, the First Lady paid courtesy calls on the chiefs and elders of the Osu traditional councils, the people and traditional leaders of Nungwa, and all the 5 clans under the Teshi Traditional Council. The First Lady also presented some food and assorted items to the traditional councils, which included corn, palm nuts, and oil. She commended the people of Teshi, Osu, and Nungwa for maintaining peace and order as they prepare to celebrate Homo, and also urged them to forge towards a united traditional leadership for economic investments.
Ni aye homo wo ye shiami ni saniko akani na wo ye hela ni ba he wo COVID-19 ehe ahunto kewo kwe na hie e bagba wona bia ne case se asipon jojugba no sani go bomode ni mask na ke wo ni wo ne mo fe mo aweko mi na e bia ke me sanwo no onye bomode ni gba aka wo ten lehun gba aka wo ten ni wo forward ni sanitizer lehun wo for use mo koni helane eje wo ten ne ya.
The First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, who is also the Executive Director of the Rebecca Foundation, pledged to support government's efforts to enhance the lives of citizens, especially women and children. The chiefs expressed the appreciation to the First Lady for her support and commended the projects implemented by the Rebecca Foundation, which has greatly impacted the lives of women and children in the coastal communities of the Greater Accra region. For GBC News, Feriwadakon reporting.
With just 4 months left for Ghana to go to the polls on December 7, political parties have begun their campaign activities, giving hint about their development plans for the country in the next 4 years. In the following report, GBC News samples the views and expectations of residents of Inshaiso, a rural community in the Asante Achim North District of the Ashanti region.
In every election year, some voters express disappointment in politicians, accusing them of reneging on promises made to them during their electioneering campaigns. Some threaten not to vote again. GBC News visited Inshaiso, one of the hard-to-reach communities within the Asante Achim North District of the Ashanti region, and asked the inhabitants whether they registered during the recent mass voter registration exercise, whether or not they voted in the previous elections, which party or candidate they would vote for this time, and on what basis. The respondents said they registered for the new voter ID card but are reluctant to take part in the 2020 elections because they are disappointed in politicians.
MTM for the Wolma, and Kaskuya in Yanibi. A buy Messi Kukra and Mayawa, young Kwalakra, or my young Bobo. But your Mataba Paba, may my man say Abanokade and coming to be because Abania try young Muslim Vasubia, the American Sanka, Junior senior high, at least say school man Kokrana, sa youth employment, Endra Kurasi by Bia, na kakra yɛde survive ndɛ nkan boy.
Others, however, said they will try once more. They mentioned improvements in access to education, provision of healthcare facilities and employment opportunities as their reasons.
Everyone votes for change. So as I want change to happen in my life, in my community and the nation at large, there is a need for me to vote.
Any person who is willing to make sure the country will reach wherever God wants the country to reach, I will forward, I will follow the person and then vote for him.
The National Identification Authority has opened an office in Tema for a Ghana card registration mop-up. A pilot system of the exercise, which began on the 30th of July, is taking place at the Tema Central Metro Assembly at Community 4. The exercise will be spread across the whole of Tema from the 24th of August to 8th of September.
For various reasons, some Ghanaians failed to register for the Ghana card during the mass registration exercise in the country, which began in the Greater Accra region on April 29, 2020. Some failed to register, complaining of crowd and long queues at the registration centers. Others, however, did register, but there was delay in the processing of their cards and had to wait. The National Identification Authority is doing the mop-up to ensure that all eligible Ghanaians have the national ID. NIA officials at the Tema Community 4 office, where the pilot is taking place, say the response has been very high, with the office recording between 70 and 80 people in a day. The district registration officer, Mr. Emmanuel Asaribediakon, told GBC News that the high turn-up is an indication that a lot more Ghanaians want to acquire the Ghana card.
We started on the 30th of July, yes, but the applicants started coming in from the 1st of August. Because as at the 30th of July, we believe that a lot of people didn't really have the knowledge that we were here. It's a pilot, so like I said, depending on how it will go, then it will be decided as to whether it can continue to be a permanent office or not.
The supervising registration officer, Mrs. Josephine Baini, said the process had been smooth, but some of those who came to register could not produce the appropriate primary document, which sometimes make it difficult for them to get registered.
With the authority, no challenges so far, but with the applicant, as we all know, we need to explain things to them, especially with the digital address, the Ghana Post. But immediately you explain to them, they go get it and they come and the process continues.
Mass registration across Tema will start from 24th of August to the 8th of September.
Hisense Ghana Limited has donated 2 new ambulances worth $90,000 to the Apinto Government Hospital and the Takwa Municipal Hospital to enhance health delivery to people in the area.
Although successive governments have done a lot to equip health facilities in the country to deliver quality healthcare, some level of deficiency still exists, especially in terms of tools and equipment. The Apinto Government Hospital and the Takwa Municipal Hospital lack essential equipment. Hisense Ghana came to the rescue by donating 2 new ambulances worth $90,000 to the 2 health facilities to enhance health delivery to the people in the area. The idea was initiated by the Managing Director of Hisense Ghana, Alhaji Amadou Yaya. The brand ambassador of Hisense Ghana, Nanama McBrown, said the gesture was part of the company's social responsibility.
We have intentions going to other regions, not to present ambulances to, but to do other things which will benefit them as well. And you have to know that Hisense already, we think about Ghanaians. If you look at our product, that is why we have this slogan, Yatete to say who. Already we have the Ghanaian in mind. Before we put a product in our showroom, we know say we'll be paying for because in so we make sure that our prices are so low that every home could have a product of Hisense.
The medical superintendent of the Tarkwa Municipal Hospital, Dr. Frederick Yao Sapong, was full of gratitude to the company for the philanthropy. On behalf of his people, the County Hene of Apinto thanked High Sense Ghana for the humanitarian gesture.
2 health facilities in the West Mampresi municipality of the Northeast region, St. Joseph's the Worker Clinic in Guabliga and Arigu Chips compound, have received a mechanized water system each from the Catholic Relief Services CRS, formally inaugurated and handed over the water systems valued at $50,000 to the beneficiaries.
The Catholic Relief Services response to WASH in healthcare facilities started in 2017 with the design of the Integrated Community Water Sanitation and Hygiene Improvement ICOWASH project. Over the years, ICOWASH has worked with the West Mampresi Municipal Assembly, Ghana Health Service, and 12 healthcare facilities to improve on health service delivery through implementing WASH in healthcare facilities. Infrastructure provided to the 12 beneficiary health facilities in the area include 2 mechanized water supply systems, 4 boreholes fitted with hand pumps, 11 medical waste incinerators, 12 gender-friendly bathrooms, 8 gender and disability-friendly KVIP latrines, 12 multi-purpose hand-washing stations, and 36 medical waste bins. The country representative for Catholic Relief Services, Daniel Mumuni, said WASH plays an important role in ensuring quality healthcare delivery.
The role WASH plays in ensuring quality care, strengthening infection prevention and control, that is IPC, enhancing maternal, child and adolescent health, and minimizing antimicrobial resistance cannot be overemphasized. Research shows that the benefits of WASH in healthcare facilities extend far beyond the point of care to boosting staff morale and performance of healthcare workers, and also minimize the national health care burden and providing a platform to promote improved hygiene practices within communities.
The Northeast Regional Director of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Abdullah Bakari, was grateful.
This appointment has come at a better time than now, because as you are all aware of COVID-19 pandemic, it has brought enormous challenges to health facilities in their quest to deliver health services, especially talking about infection prevention, which without water supply, it is something that is going to be a mirage. The 2 health facilities now have potable water supply systems, but the responsibility now lies on the staff and management to maintain and keep them in shape, so that anytime CRS and their donors come around, they'll be happy and proud that their resources have been put into good use.
The Deputy Northeast Regional Minister, Alhaji Tahiru Tia Ahmed, praised Catholic Relief Services for supporting to bring quality healthcare delivery to the people in the region. The Catholic Relief Services is to present an electrochlorinator equipment to the West Mampresi Municipal Health Directorate to enable it to produce liquid bleach for supply to the various clinics and CHIPS compounds.
39-year-old Edward Opong has been diagnosed with end-stage kidney disease and advised to undergo a renal transplant estimated at $40,000 US. Mr. Opong is therefore appealing to the general public for financial assistance for the transplant in India.
Edward Opong is a resident of Tantra Hills in the Greater Accra region. In November 2018, he was diagnosed with end-stage kidney disease at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital and currently on dialysis at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
Started as a malaria, I treated it, then after a month it wasn't going. I retreated it again and still the malaria wasn't going. And then all of a sudden I realized that I was reducing in weight, and I take in water, I vomit. Any food that enters me, I was vomiting. It was November that I started dialysis from Cape Coast in Tibetan, and since then I've been on dialysis till now.
He requires 3 sessions of dialysis per week, including renal specific medications. With 2 kids and a wife, the weekly dialysis has become unbearable financially for the family, so for a cost-effective approach for his care in the long term, a kidney transplant is being medically advised, and this would cost $40,000.
My little word I have for the public is, please help me out. At my age, 39 years, I'm too young. I have 2 kids, children there who are very young and they are looking up to me. I can't leave them there at this stage. So please, the little you can afford, help me out so that I can do this transplant, so that I can also live for a longer life. I went to Adisada College. I'm also appealing to all my old boys, seniors, juniors of old boys. You've been of a great help, but I also need more help now for me to be able to do my transplant successfully.
The general public and benevolent organizations able and willing to offer support to Mr. Edward Apong for the kidney transplant can do so either through his Momo account 0242 133 720 or his bank account GT Bank Spintex account number 025 107 134 1590.
34-year-old Priscilla Parry has been diagnosed with end-stage kidney disease. Doctors at the Kolibu Teaching Hospital say she needs an amount of 100,000 Ghana cedis for a kidney transplant to live a normal life. She is also appealing to the public for support.
Meet Miss Priscilla Parry. She's been diagnosed with end-stage kidney disease and has lived with the condition for some time now. Narrating her story to GBC News, Miss Parry said about a year ago she wasn't feeling well and noticed a discoloration of her eyes, specifically yellow. She was asked to go to the lab and test for typhoid fever. All 3 different Vidal tests came out negative. She was then asked to do a kidney test and that came out positive. These are pictures of Miss Priscilla Parry a few years ago before her condition. According to Priscilla Parry, she has a donor who is on standby to give her one of her kidneys.
For the past 1 year,
Donors who wish to support Priscilla Parry can send their donations to Momo number 0242 235450 or Priscilla Parry account number 0122 0258 01014 Universal Merchant Bank, UNB, Kofodia branch.
In the same vein, 28-year-old Tofik Suleimana is appealing for support. He has been diagnosed with a condition called craniocervical tumor, which has affected his spine and nervous system. 2 surgeries to improve his situation, according to doctors at the Kolibu Teaching Hospital, will cost 37,000 Ghana cedis.
Home of Tofik Suleimana. 3 years ago, Tofik complained of joint pains and was sent to the hospital. He was subsequently referred to the Kolibu Teaching Hospital and after a series of tests was diagnosed of craniocervical tumor. The disease has currently affected both his hands and he can neither hold a spoon nor a toothbrush, making him dependent on neighbors. As an only child and orphan, occupants of this compound help take care of him. The situation becomes worse when he wants to take a bath or use the toilet or even sit.
I don't have anybody. There's no any support anywhere. So I'm here pleading with every Ghanaian, including institutions. Use any institution to come to my aid, since I do not have anybody. Life is difficult for me. I can't remain this way.
I can't.
This is virtually where he spends his entire day, running into weeks and months. And this, according to him, can be stressful and lonely. But there's hope. Experts at the Kolibu Teaching Hospital say if he can raise 37,000 Ghana cedis, he can walk and touch again. His dream and hope and prayer is to live a normal life. Anybody moved to support Tufik Suleimana financially can do so through Momo number 0541 211588. Gift EJ, GBC News, Accra.
74-year-old Mr. Stephen Kwashi Gapato is reported missing. Mr. Gapato is mentally challenged. He left his residence in Tesano at house number C23/19 on Friday, August 7, 2020, around 1:30 to 2 p.m. and has since not returned. He was in a mauve jacket and blue-black trousers. All efforts to trace his whereabouts has proven futile. Anyone who comes into contact with him should please call Ms. Felicia Botry on 024-501-9457. That's 024-501-9457, or report to the nearest police station. News Hour is live from Broadcasting House in Accra. Time for a break. We'll be back with more stories. Please stay with us.
Strong women whose stories teach us perseverance, logic, decisiveness and self-confidence. Being strong is not just about physical abilities, but also emotional, intellectual and mental strength. Women's Voice is a platform to hear and share stories to encourage women and girls. Women are the real architect of society. It is they who provide the foundation of power, grace, wisdom, justice, creativity and hope. Join us live every Monday at 4 p.m. on GBC News and GTV, Wednesdays live at 4 p.m. on GBC News and a repeat on Saturdays at 4 p.m. on GBC News and Sundays at 3 p.m. also on GBC News. Women's Voice. No one can make you inferior without your consent.
It is not in our nature as Ghanaians to be dirty. We keep our immediate
fire.
serious for corona.
African countries have reopened their airspace. 13, including Ghana, have hinted reopening, while 20 still have their airport closed. As aviation industry players eagerly await a possible opening of Ghana's airspace in September, we have been joined via Zoom by a travel and tour agent, Mr. Felix Boafo, to analyze the impact the reopening will have on the travel and tour business. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Boafo.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Right, and so as an industry player, do you have any information which indicates that really the airspace of Ghana will be opened in September? The precedent was not definitive.
Thank you. The only information we have received so far concerning the reopening of the airport is what we heard in the president's last address. Apart from that, we haven't heard anything from official source that we can say that definitely the airport is going to be open on so date.
So as we speak, you are not too sure whether it's going to be opened?
Yes, we are not very sure whether it will be open on the 1st or not. All depends on the president. He has the final say.
So you're not
he
making...
has instructed the airport officials to prepare the airport for reopening. But as to whether it will be open on that day or not, depends on him and then the aviation authorities.
So as a travel and tour agent who fits off, the business at the airport, you are not making any preparation whatsoever to benefit from the business that will boom in case the airport is opened or the airspace is opened. Are you making any preparations?
From the very day that the airport was closed,
right,
travel and tour people have been expecting that the airport will reopen so that they can continue with their business. That is what they do to do best, and they are waiting eagerly to continue with their business. So I can say on authority that all travel and tour are ever ready to reopen. We are just hoping that the president will give the go-ahead for the airport to be reopened. Then we will start our business.
Right. So
because day in, day out, people are calling to find out when are we going to start work. So we are ready. We are ready.
Right. So finally, before I let you go, how has the impact of the closure been on your business, the travel and tour business? I mean, really, there has been an impact, but how grave has it been?
The impact of the closure of the airport on travel and tour companies and the traveling public cannot be overestimated.
Right.
Everybody who is involved has been negatively impacted, and the blow is very heavy because, as I speak to you now, some of our colleagues have closed their offices. Workers have been laid off. Those who are working, some of them can tell you that they are not receiving anything. Some are receiving something just to keep soul and body together. So the impact is very great. Right. The impact is very, very great, to say the least.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Felix Boafo is a travel and tour agent there. He's been speaking to us about the impact of the closure of the country's airspace on their business. Moving on, for 3 days running this week, the composite index of the Ghana Stock Exchange cumulatively decreased 35.7 points and inched up on Thursday by 4.42 points. We now go over to the head of investment banking at CDH Securities, Mr. James Afo, for a review of the performance of the market for the week. Good afternoon to you, James, if you've joined me.
Good afternoon, Mr. Morris.
Right, and so briefly, will you describe how the markets has been for the whole of the week?
Well, things this week has been a very busy week.
Right.
In terms of trading activities on the market. But unfortunately, we've been experiencing downward trend in prices, and that has impacted negatively on almost all the indicators. For instance, if you take indicator like the market capitalization, it has declined, though the week has not ended. We are yet to get a trading result for today, so things may change.
Right.
From Monday, so yesterday, it has declined by 0.66% as compared to that of last week. It has also declined by 1.78%. The financial stock index has also declined by 2.48%, and that of the year to date has also been on the downward trend. It has declined by 8.71. So relatively, I would say last week was quite better than this week.
Driving down the performance, especially in the financial index. We know that even in trying times, the banks have always, been stable and have seen some growth. What is really driving down the growth in the financial sector?
Can you speak up? I didn't hear what you said.
I want to know what is causing the downward trend in growth when we talk about the financial index.
Okay. I think the whole thing has to do with demand and supply. Now, those who are willing to sell maybe raise money for their daily upkeep, exceed those who are willing to buy. So with this, the brokers fronting for the buyers will then have the opportunity to bargain for lower prices. So it is basically caused by excess of supply over demand. That has actually pushed most of the prices down, like what we experienced. So people are selling more than those who intend buying. Hold on for a longer period of time.
Because people need monies in their pockets at these crucial times.
Yes, please. I think the COVID, pandemic, and the financial sector cleanup have impacted negatively on income level. So people genuinely need money. Unfortunately, they still happen to be the instrument that can easily be disposed of. So it is usually the victim when it comes to disposing of assets. That's what we are experiencing now.
Right. And so which stocks have been the gainers and which ones are losing in the week?
So far, we've recorded 8 price changes. The gainers are 2, and they are Society Generale and GCB.
Okay.
For the losers, we have BOPP, that's the Better Education, Carbon, DTH, Enterprise Group, Goyle, and Guinness Rose Limited. So these are the 6 losers that we have for the week. So the week has not ended. Things may change depending on what's happening on the market today.
Are we likely to see the same trend next week? Is that what you foresee?
No, really. This week even came as a shock to us because for the past 1 month, we've been experiencing increase in prices. Prices have been appreciated worst case scenario has stabilized.
Right.
So we're really expecting the same trend to continue this week. But unfortunately, these are temporary shocks that normally happens. And this is indeed happening in all over the world. It is not only Ghana that is experiencing this trend. Similar things are happening in African countries like Nigeria, Kenya, Egypt, South Africa, Europe, the same thing. So far, the only market that is relatively stable has been to be the Chinese stock market.
Right.
So it is a similar trend.
Thank you very much. Mr. James Afo is the head of investment banking at CDH Securities there. Now, Goil Company has announced a 45 peso dividend share for its shareholders for 2019 compared with the 2018 dividend of 42 pesos. Management of the company described the year under review as sterling and robust. We bring you that story later on. Let's go to the interbank market and get latest on how the local currency is performing.
Population or the military. Ibrahim Boubacar Keita was removed in a coup on Tuesday. West African leaders have called for him to be reinstated, and the UN has called for the release of officials. But the coup leaders say they are in And on Tuesday, chaos broke out in the capital, Bamako, with soldiers barricading roads and gunshots booming. A little after midnight on Wednesday, just hours after being taken into custody by mutinous soldiers, Malian President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta donned a face mask and announced he would resign. This may be the first coup d'etat of the novel coronavirus era, and an coup could hurt the gold trade that Mali's economy relies on in ways that the coronavirus has not. We've been joined on the phone by a senior lecturer, Center for Conflict, Human Rights and Peace Studies, University of Education, Winneba, Dr. Vincent Ajali Mensah, to discuss the latest developments. Good afternoon, Doctor. Welcome to GBC News.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Pleasure is ours. Now, we've seen insurgency and instability in Mali for the past decade now. Would you say that the seeds of this coup were sown way before COVID-19 hit the world?
Definitely, the answer is yes. The seeds were there long ago. You remember from the situation in Libya, a lot of insurgents moved from Libya and supported the existing movement for the northern part of Mali to be made an independent state or an autonomous state, and that led to jihadist activities there in 2012. And that problem has not been resolved. What happened was that because of that problem, security interests took over the interests of the economic well-being of the citizens, and that exacerbated the whole thing. So you have on one front a security thing that they have to deal with, and here were citizens who also have an economic interest in terms of employment, jobs, and all that, and that was mixed up with what is described in Mali as cronyism, where the president was accused of even making his own son the chairman of the Security Committee of Parliament. And then political opponents were around the corner, and Diko in particular, who has made himself, carefully made himself a kingmaker, decided to give him problem, and that complicated the whole situation. So the seeds were long there before COVID-19 came.
And the new military leaders have promised a speedy return to normalcy. Can we trust them to deliver on that promise?
Well, there are three important statements that the new military leaders made that we have to underline. The first is that they said they were not interested in power but the health of the nation. The second was that they called themselves the National Committee for the Well-being of the People. The third was that they said they want to give Mali strong institutions capable of better managing the everyday lives of the people and restoring confidence between the government and the governance. Now, these three things are important because in Africa we are very tired with coup d'etats. The world is tired with coup d'etats in Africa. But one of the questions we have not been asking is, and maybe looking for answer for, is what has been the seed? What are the causes of these coup d'etats, and how can we remove those things? And I think that if you look at the situation in Mali, like
Vincent Ajali-Mensah is from the Center for Conflict, Human Rights and Peace Studies of the University of Education, Winneba. Next is sports.
Of COVID-19.